Part 21. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 201. Presumptuous. The Emperor is angry and makes people frightened. Even before the actor who played the prisoner could react, his body reacted immediately, and he knelt down with a thud. "Your Majesty, spare your life." I. A cold feeling spread throughout the hall, and the ministers hung their heads in silence. They could only hear the majestic voice of the superior's judgment, "Pull it down." Suddenly, two guards rushed in from outside the palace and roughly dragged the prisoner down, who was lying on the ground with a look of horror on his face. "Okay, let's take a break. This sound is no less than the sound of nature." Sensing that the momentum spreading above their heads had subsided, the actors who played the officials of the imperial court all breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned around and looked at the actor who played the prisoner for the first time. That kneeling just now was a real deal. The ground is made of smooth polished stone, and the sound makes one's teeth ache. As expected, I saw a grinning face. "Young man, it's just acting, and you can also dub it later. Why are you so serious?" Zhang Lingzi walked all the way to the entrance of the palace. Everyone subconsciously made a way and watched her walk up to the actor. "Are you okay?" The actor who plays the prisoner is a young actor and not very young. This is the first time he has played a role and a lot of lines. It stands to reason that he would be happy and excited to receive such a word of concern from the actress playing the heroine, but the reality is that when he heard this simple word of concern, he even forgot about the severe pain in his knee for a while, and subconsciously he took 3 steps back and hurriedly shook his head with a pale face. "No, it's okay. Zhang Lingzi, it's fine as long as it's okay. After all, historical dramas are based on true stories. The scene just now naturally happened." Now that she was immersed in it again, and the actor who played the prisoner played the role very hard, she was inevitably a little affected. True emotions. I didn't expect to scare people like this. There shouldn't be any psychological shadow, right? Noticing that Director Wei was waving towards him, Zhang Lingzi nodded to him and walked over. I didn't see the little actor breathing a sigh of relief after she left. When Zhang Lingzi arrived in front of Director Wei, before Zhang Lingzi had time to see how her performance was, Wei Xiao smiled and scolded her, "Look, I'm so scared, my knees will be blue for days." Zhang Lingzi frowned pretendingly. "The crew doesn't provide knee pads." Who would have thought that boy could kneel so solidly, but after this time, someone will probably bring their own knee pads for scenes that require kneeling in the future. Wei Xiao was not really angry. The actor was brought into the play and acted realistically. It was too late for him to be happy. Can he say that when Emperor Yuan Zhao, played by Zhang Lingzi just now, was furious in the court, even he, the director, couldn't help holding his breath while watching it? Compared with other actors in Chaoshang, he was not much better. The effect is very good, but it is a bit laborious for the actors. Looking back, there was no big problem. Zhang Lingzi withdrew her gaze and pointed in the direction where Su Linghan and Gao Lan were sitting. "Director Wei, my family has come to see me. I'll go talk to them." Wei Xiao waved his hand directly. Go, have a good rest. Let the actors who were opposite you just take a break before you can continue filming the next scene." "Sister," when Su Linghan saw Zhang Lingzi walking towards the side, she stood up immediately and waved her hand with bright eyes. Zhang Lingzi looked at Su Linghan's little face and asked, "Is it hot?" Su Linghan shook his head hastily. "It's not hot. Looking closer, I saw that although you were red but not sweating, I see your face is a little red. I'm excited. My sister just acted well. I think the actor who played the prisoner seems to be really afraid of my sister. He got into the role and performed well." Looking at Zhang Lingzi, who was wearing a dragon robe at a close distance and looked much more majestic than usual, both the grandfather and grandson were a little excited. When Zhang Lingzi looked towards her, Gao Lan said, Looking at Xiao 11's dress, I feel like you should be like this. This is my first time to watch an actor acting live. The acting is so good, so real. Su Ling'an nodded beside him like a chicken pecking rice. When we were studying the history of the Dayan dynasty in our history class, we discussed what kind of person Emperor Yuan Zhao would be, and now I feel like he is like a sister. Wei Minmin heard the words of her grandfather and grandson as soon as she walked over. She smiled and nodded. Indeed, when Sister 11 played the role of Emperor Yuan Zhao, she was so impressive. "Hello, old man, is this Sister Anan?" Su Ling'an looked at the woman who was also wearing a costume and came to Zhang Lingzi's side. His eyes fell on a goshawk with spread wings embroidered on her white cloak, Wei Fueying. Wei Minmin raised her eyebrows. "It's the character I play. Doesn't Sister Anan know me too?" Zhang Lingzi knew that Su Ling'an did not pay attention to the entertainment industry, so she pointed at her cloak and said, "Anan recognized this." Su Ling'an nodded and whispered, "Historically, the general's flag of General Wei Fueying was the goshawk." "You even know this," Wei Minmin laughed. "It seems that Sister Anan must have learned history very well. Then let me introduce myself. My name is Wei Minmin. You are not older than me. Just call me Sister Minmin." "Good. Hello, Sister Minmin." Wei Minmin's smile widened. She is indeed very well behaved. Seeing that the little girl in front of her was so embarrassed that her neck turned pink, Wei Minmin stopped when she was satisfied and turned to look at Zhang Lingzi. "I asked my cousin about the question yesterday, and he didn't have any solution. I think it's better to give up." This matter was said on a whim. Yesterday, when Zhang Lingzi was flipping through the compulsory mathematics textbook, she pulled out a piece of paper inside. On it was a set of copied questions. She took a casual look at it and thought it was quite interesting, but the foundation left to her by the original textbook was too poor. I couldn't figure it out. But she also has a temperament that won't give up until she achieves her goal. She will keep thinking about it if she can't solve it. When Wei Minmin found out about it, she patted her chest and went back to find her cousin who was in the second year of high school, but she still couldn't solve it. "My cousin said that the question was at the level of a mathematical Olympiad. He couldn't even solve it, and the classmates in his class also struggled." Zhang Lingzi nodded, which was not surprising. The question was indeed tricky. "What question?" The two of them turned their heads and met Su Ling'an's curious eyes. Wei Minmin slapped her forehead and said, "I almost forgot, Sister Anan has just finished her college entrance examination. Sister 11, please let Sister Anan take a look at it. It's just a math problem." Zhang Lingzi saw that Su Ling'an really wanted to give it a try, so she took out the math textbook from the bag that Lu Zhengzheng had put aside, pulled out the piece of paper tucked inside and handed it over. While Su Ling'an took the paper, he sharply saw the textbook that he was extremely familiar with, Mathematics Compulsory Subject 1. Wei Minmin held back her laughter and nodded. "Your sister wants to take the college entrance examination next year." She was shocked when she first learned about this. She could see that Zhang Lingzi was serious. She accepted it after a night. "Start now. Worked hard." Zhang Lingzi met Su Ling'an's surprised eyes and said, "I haven't been to college yet, and I want to experience college life like you." "Sister, it's okay." After being surprised, Su Ling'an immediately expressed support. "I'll take a look at this question first." The three of them sat around and started talking during the break. On the other side, Lu Zhengzheng brought two teenagers in work clothes and walked into the set with two boxes of drinks. He picked a drink and delivered it to the director's shed first. "Director Wei, Sister Zixi invites everyone to have a drink." A cup of iced fruit tea was handed to him. Wei Xiao took it and thanked him before subconsciously glancing in the direction of Zhang Lingzi. "I saw my eldest niece there, sitting with Zhang Lingzi." Opposite them was a little girl holding a notebook in one hand and a pen in the other, writing something with her head slightly lowered, her face serious and focused. Looking at Zhang Lingzi again, She is obviously dressed in majestic imperial clothes, but in front of the little girl, she looks like a student being taught, with doting and serious eyes. He was holding the cold fruit tea in his hand. Looking at this scene, his heart suddenly moved. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 202. So it can be explained this way. Sister Anan is really amazing. My cousin also said that I am a scumbag and I really should let him compare with Sister Anan. Su Ling'an closed the cap of his pen and waved his hands hurriedly. I have seen similar question types before. If I change it to another question type, I will be stumped. Wei Minmin did not save any face for her cousin. Even if he has seen it, he may not be able to solve it. But the problem-solving process is so complicated. Actually, there is a simpler solution, but the formula required involves college mathematics, and the only way to solve it is with high school knowledge. Zhang Lingzi touched Su Ling'an's hair and handed over the drink that Lu Zhengzheng had just brought over. Thank you for your hard work. Let's have something to drink. What are you talking about? The three of them looked up together and saw Wei Xiao holding a cup of fruit tea exactly like the one held by Su Ling'an, with the other hand behind his back. He didn't know when he had wandered over here. Zhang Lingzi glanced at Anan, who was a little nervous, then handed her the straw and stood up. Why is Director Wei here? Ahem, just take a walk, Wei Xiao said and took a sip of the fruit tea. The fruit tea is delicious. Wei Minmin looked at her brother-in-law and then at Su Ling'an, who was a little more uncomfortable. Director Wei, these are Sisters 11 and Grandma. They came here today to visit Sister 11. Let me tell you, why did Xiao 11 suddenly invite me to drink fruit tea today? Wei Xiao's eyes paused in front of Su Ling'an as if unintentionally. How old is the little girl? Although Su Ling'an didn't know why the person in front of her suddenly asked her this question, she honestly replied, 18. I have just grown up, but I look younger than my actual age. Wei Minmin added on the side, Sister Anan has just finished the college entrance examination and will be a college student in a few months. Really, not bad. Wei Xiao nodded with a smile, and let out a soft sigh when he was about to turn around and leave. I saw a video of a college entrance examination interview on my phone 2 days ago, and I looked for my mother at the end of the video. Is it you, girl? Su Ling'an suddenly looked up. The tension in my heart was weakened a lot by this question. She was nervous because the person in front of her was the director, and even her sister had to be controlled by the director. She was afraid that if she did not perform well, her sister would be affected. Only I didn't expect that such a big shot would actually watch videos on his mobile phone, and I suddenly felt much more down to earth. Yes, it was me who made Director Wei laugh. Where, you are a very brave and filial girl, Wei Xiao smiled and praised, then looked at the thin old lady sitting beside him. You are An's grandmother, right? Yes, it's causing trouble to the crew. Wei Xiao hurriedly waved his hand. What's the trouble? You have taught an excellent granddaughter. I hope you will reunite with your daughter as soon as possible. Thanks, thanks. It wasn't until Wei Xiao walked away that Zhang Lingzi and Wei Minmin looked away. What's wrong with my brother-in-law? In the past, when family members of actors and actresses from the production crew came to visit, he never came over to say hello. Maybe it's because I'm bored. Wei Minmin raised her eyebrows high. She didn't think so. The person who will play the role of Princess Jinan has not been decided for a day. She feels that her brother-in-law cannot have the leisure to wander around in boredom. Time to rest always feels like it flies by so fast, especially today. Zhang Lingzi felt that just a moment after she sat down, the next scene would begin. Su Ling'an watched her touch up her makeup and then go to the filming. She sat there and watched quietly while flipping through the textbook in her hand that she had already learned by heart. The font on it was clearly a boy's, so she turned to the title page again, and there was a somewhat scrawled name written on it, Lin Zhou Yuan. It should be the book my sister borrowed from somewhere. If she had known that her sister would need them, she would not have lent her books to the classmates in the next class who were preparing to repeat their studies. Compared with classmates and older sisters, naturally older sisters are more important. This scene was filmed until the noon break. While waiting for the ordered meals to be delivered to the crew, John Lindsay discovered that her math textbook had a lot of beautiful fonts. Did you write it? Well, these are some more important knowledge points, sister, you can focus on reviewing them. John Lindsay touched the dried handwriting on it, pondered for a moment, raised her eyes and met a pair of eyes begging for praise. Annan, are you willing to come to the set to help me with my homework? I will pay you for the tutoring. Ah, Su Ling'an was dumbfounded after hearing this, nodded and shook his head again. Okay, but I don't want tutoring fees. It would be great if I can help my sister. How can I still ask for tutoring fees? But I will take up your time. Didn't you say you wanted to make money during the interview? There is no conflict. And I haven't decided what to do to make money yet, so I'll help my sister tutor first. John Lindsay sighed inwardly. It seems that the tutoring fee is destined to be unable to be paid. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of Lu Zhengzheng, who was coming back with a lunch box. Let's have lunch first. After that, I'll take you and Grandma to an empty resting room to have a good rest. In the afternoon, after lunch break, the grandfather and grandson were taken around the neighborhood by Lu Zhengzheng. During the rest of the time, Su Ling'an read the compulsory mathematics textbook one from cover to cover. After finishing work in the evening, John Lindsay received a mathematics book full of key points. If there's anything you don't understand, sister, you can call me at any time. You haven't even had time to accompany Grandma to visit the film and television city with this, John Lindsay said, looking at her grandfather and grandson who were about to go home. I don't have any announcements tomorrow morning, so you two will stay all night tonight, and we will go shopping together tomorrow morning. Take a stroll. Su Ling'an and her grandmother looked at each other. Isn't it too much trouble? The room has been booked. If you don't stay, you won't get a refund. Besides, I've only been filming these days and haven't been to other places, so you can just accompany me. Then, listen to my sister. Let me take off my makeup and let's go have dinner together. Just after giving one thing, Wei Xiao turned his head and saw that his female number one, who was standing not far away, had disappeared. Also missing were the grandfather and grandson who came to visit the class. Where have the people gone? Uncle, who are you looking for? Xiao 11, have you seen it? We're done now. Sister 11 must have taken Grandma and Sister Annan to dinner. Wei Minmin didn't follow shamelessly this time, mainly because there were elders around, so she didn't dare to let go too much for fear of scaring the elderly. Why are you looking for Sister 11? Wei Xiao took out his mobile phone and waved his hand to his eldest niece. It's none of your business, go about your business. Wei Minmin rolled her eyes and walked away with her hands behind her back. But before she could go out, she was stopped by the person who chased her away. Minmin, wait a minute, come back. Wei Minmin took a deep breath, turned around and glared angrily. It was you who asked me to leave, and you who asked me to come back. Why are you bullying me, my eldest niece? Do you believe it or not? I will go back and complain to Grandpa. Wei Xiao touched his nose and coughed awkwardly. Well, you must have a friend of Xiao 11's and recommend him to me. Wei Minmin was stunned at first, and then couldn't help laughing happily. Sister 11 didn't even add you as a friend at the beginning? Haha, Director Wei, you are here too. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 203. Chapter 203. I have a part-time job suitable for you. There was once an excellent opportunity in front of Zhang Lingzi to add herself as a friend, but she was ignored by this person. Even he subconsciously thought that Zhang Lingzi had already added him, but he couldn't find Zhang Lingzi's name after searching through his friend's circle. The facts are before our eyes, this Zhang Lingzi really doesn't want to add him. At this moment, faced with the eldest niece's loud laughter without scruples, Director Wei thought so vicissitudes of life. And usually a lot of people came to join him. This time, with the guidance of his eldest niece, he successfully sent a friend request. Still have to wait for the verification to pass. Wei Minmin took out her mobile phone to send a message to Zhang Lingzi to remind her, but she didn't stop laughing at all. I said, "Brother-in-law, what is it that makes you so anxious to find Sister 11? Wei Xiao had just been laughed at by his eldest niece, and now he had no intention of pretending to be a great director, so he simply said with a face, "I think you get along well with the Sister Zioxi who came to visit the class today." "That's right," Wei Minmin nodded without thinking, "that little girl is well behaved and cute. She treats me just like Sister Minmin. She's good looking, and she's a college student. She's a perfect sister to other people's families. I can't wait to go back to my home." Wei Xiao knew early on that her eldest niece was privately crazy and would rip her heart out at those she liked, while those she didn't like would only get a blank stare even if she tried to show her kindness 100 times. Fortunately, after all these years, there is really no one who can get in front of my eldest niece with evil intentions. In just one day's work, the little girl was able to get the evaluation of eldest niece, and Wei Xiao became more certain about the idea in his heart. "No, uncle, why did you suddenly mention Sister Anan?" Wei Xiao was about to speak when the phone in his hand suddenly vibrated. He lowered his head and saw "You have been verified as Zhang Lingzi's friend" displayed on the screen. He immediately waved his hand and said, "You will know tomorrow. I still have to leave beforehand. Okay, go and play by yourself." Wei Minmin, who was left on the spot and watched the wind blow under her uncle's feet, left. It's hard to believe that she was actually burned across the river. Asterisk. Afraid of the psychological burden on the grandson and grandson, Zhang Lingzi asked Lu Zhengzheng to find a small restaurant that was small in size and focused on being cheap and affordable. But the box is still unavoidable, and the grandfather and grandson can understand it. After the four people sat in the private room and ordered one dish each, Gao Lan refused to order more at all costs. While waiting for the food to arrive, Zhang Lingzi received a message from Wei Minmin, asking her to apply as a friend of Director Wei. Although she didn't know why Director Wei suddenly wanted to add her as a friend, she just clicked on the screen and she accepted it easily. Within 2 seconds, the phone on the table lit up frequently, and the message notification sounded every 2 seconds. She clicked it. "Xiao 11, I am Wei Xiao. Is it convenient for you now? We have something to discuss. I have an idea about the role of Princess Jinan. It has something to do with you." Seeing this, Zhang Lingzi raised her head and glanced at Su Ling'an, who was sitting on her right, lowered her eyes and started typing a reply. "I was eating with my grandma and Anan on the restaurant street of the film and television city." "Wei Xiao, your grandma and Miss Anan haven't left yet. That's just in time. Which restaurant are you at? I'll go find you right away and I'll treat you to this meal." Zhang Lingzi hesitated this time, but still sent the name of the restaurant, Kui Kui's restaurant. Wei Xiao saw the name of the hotel. "Is there any restaurant on the restaurant street of the film and television city with such a down-to-earth name?" He searched the map and found it. "I'll rush over right now." Zhang Lingzi put down her phone and coughed lightly. The three people sitting around the table all looked over. "Grandma, Anan, the health director will come over to have dinner with us later." "Director Wei," Su Ling'an was confused. Gao Lan also looked puzzled. "The director is coming over for dinner. Is there something urgent that I want to talk to you about?" Su Ling'an stood up immediately after hearing this. "Then my grandma and I will go to the hall outside to avoid it." Zhang Lingzi hurriedly reached out and pushed her back. No need. Besides, after a pause, if nothing else, Director Wei's visit this time should have something to do with you. Although they had only chatted for a few words, her intuition told her that Director Wei should have decided to come over in person only after she replied that neither Grandma nor Anan had left. Me, Su Lingyan pointed at himself, his beautiful almond eyes becoming a little rounder. Noticing that the girl's whole body was tense, Zhang Lingzi patted her hand as she was about to take it back. Don't be nervous. When people come over, just act like an ordinary elder. Su Lingyan nodded subconsciously and took a sip of the tea in front of him to calm down. Although Gao Lan was confused about the purpose of the great director's coming, with Zhang Lingzi here, she had nothing to worry about. Moreover, the other party is a famous person, so it would be nice to let the granddaughter see the world. The first dish was delivered to the private room, and Wei Xiao finally found Quiquoi's restaurant. As soon as he mentioned the combination of 3 girls and an old lady, he was immediately led into the private room. You don't have to get up. Sit down. Sit down. Speaking of which, I'm here to interrupt your meal. Sitting on the temporary chair, Wei Xiao met Zhang Lingzi's gaze and his face straightened. He strongly suspected that this girl had guessed the purpose of his coming. Before he could speak, Zhang Lingzi had already averted her eyes and said, "Let's eat first. If Director Wei has anything to do, we can wait until after dinner." Yes, eat first, otherwise the food will get cold. During the day on the set, everyone has seen Wei Xiao yelling at the actor who made the mistake with a loud voice until his eyes were red. Now they are eating at the same table. Zhang Lingzi and Gao Lan are fine, but Lu Zhengzheng and Su Lingyan are wishing for themselves. Become a robot and make sure you do nothing wrong. Wei Xiao probably noticed the tension between the two of them and tried to make himself more approachable. The atmosphere at the dinner table slowly relaxed. The food was served very quickly and everyone was focused on cooking. In less than half an hour, all 5 people were full. Zhang Lingzi asked the waiter to bring over a pot of barley tea for digestion, and Lu Zhengzheng quickly poured it into everyone's cups with quick eyes and hands. Wei Xiao took a sip of tea, first looked at Zhang Lingzi, and then moved his eyes to Su Lingyan. Su Lingyan, who was holding a cup and preparing to drink tea, suddenly froze. Then she saw this great director who had a volatile temper on the set and could shock the entire audience with just one loudspeaker, and smiled at her. Her smile made her hand holding the cup tremble, and she almost dropped the tea. Wei Xiao's tone was as gentle as possible. I remember in the previous interview you said that you wanted to use your vacation to make money for tuition. Unfortunately, I have a part-time job here that is suitable for you. Zhang Lingzi, sure enough. Should I say he is worthy of being a director, with his eclectic and provocative vision and his ability to take action immediately after making a decision? Yes, very well. End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 204. Chapter 204 Sister Anan is a sister control. What part-time job? Su Lingyan never expected that director Wei Dou would actually introduce his work to him. My head, which usually spins very quickly, suddenly stopped working. I subconsciously asked what my job was. That is. Zhang Lingzi interrupted Wei Xiao and first took the teacup that Su Lingyan had forgotten to put down and put it on the table. Anan is familiar with history. Do you remember the youngest sister of Emperor Yuan Zhao during the Yuan Zhao period of the Dayan dynasty? When it came to the knowledge points that he had learned and was interested in, Su Lingyan regained his confidence in a second and nodded without hesitation. Remember, Emperor Yuan Zhao's younger sister Zhang Lingyan was titled Princess Jinan. The little Emperor Yuan Zhao was 11 years old and was born with a weak body. She died at the age of 10, but she left behind the first collection of essays and poems compiled by a woman, and she was also very talented in literature. In the quiet box, there was only the sweet and clear voice of the little girl for a while, but as she spoke, her voice became softer. Did I talk a little too much? Zhang Lingzi smiled at her and shook her head. No, that's very good. Her Jinan is so good, and she, as a sister, is only proud. Wei Xiao was deeply shocked. In the vast history, Princess Jinan can be said to be just an insignificant role. Furthermore, she died young. If it were not for her status as a princess, her name might not have been left in the history books. Even he, when writing the script, spent a lot of effort to find as many records as possible related to Princess Jinan, and then pieced together the short life of this character. The little girl in front of him, who had just finished the college entrance examination, was very fond of Princess Jinan. Wei Xiao hesitated for a moment, but couldn't help but ask, there shouldn't be such a detailed record of Princess Jinan in the textbook, right? She has the same name as me, so I collected some information myself, as well as the fragments of the anthology and poems she compiled, which I also like very much. Unfortunately, the complete original version is in the Yinhe Palace Museum and cannot be seen. Speaking of this, Su Ling'an felt a little regretful. Wei Xiao. Those things should be sealed in a glass cover that isolates the air and stored properly. He can't see it either. Zhang Ling'an and Su Ling'an are exactly the same except for their surname and first name. This coincidence undoubtedly made Wei Xiao a little more determined. Then are you willing to come to my crew to play the role of Princess Jinan? Without waiting for Su Ling'an's reaction, he continued, Princess Jinan has been in the palace since she was a child. Filming will only take place in the Yinhe Palace in this film and television city, and there are not many scenes. The filming can be completed in 2 months at most. It won't affect your future studies in college. Besides, since you are an adult, the crew will sign a formal contract with you. As for the salary, I haven't had time to discuss this with others, but it will definitely be more than working part-time. Even though he had the salary given to Lin Suifei before, the girl in front of him is a pure person, and there are rules in the industry, so he definitely can't give her the same salary as Lin Suifei. But I can't act. This honest answer made Wei Xiao laugh. You girl's temperament is very similar to Princess Jinan. It doesn't matter if you can't act. It's not me. Su Ling'an suddenly thought of the scene of this man holding a big loudspeaker and bombing indiscriminately. Wei Xiao saw through what this girl was thinking at a glance. Although I'm a little serious, it's all for the good of the actors. Su Ling'an nodded. She believed this statement. The head teacher was also very strict with the students in the class. The purpose was just to let them get better grades in the exam. And you are playing Emperor Yuan Zhao's sister in the play. You two are already, wouldn't it be more natural then? Wei Xiao said and glanced at Zhang Lingzi. Su Ling'an was nervous, but couldn't help but feel excited. Sister. She and her sister are not only sisters in reality, but also in dramas. Moreover, by the time she appears on TV, more people should be able to see her, including maybe her mother. Thinking about this, I am even more excited. Just looking at the expression of the girl opposite, Wei Xiao couldn't tell whether to laugh or cry. Humor, the generous remuneration he mentioned earlier, is not as big a temptation as this. Grandma, Gao Lan was also confused. She was just visiting a class with her granddaughter. Why was her granddaughter invited to act in a play now? Things developed so fast that even she couldn't react. But there is no doubt that this is a good opportunity, and it is much more reliable than working in a factory or working as a waiter and other part-time jobs. However, at this moment, she still looked at the child with a hesitant look. She naturally knew why her granddaughter was hesitant. It was just because she didn't trust her. You can go if you want. If you have to live on campus in the future, will you take me with you? You have grown up, so you should fly forward bravely. Besides, Zioxy is here, so I have nothing to worry about. Grandma's encouraging eyes and her sister's eyes respecting her decision made Su Ling'an silently gather her courage. Her slightly raised voice was clear and firm. "Thank you, Director Wei, for giving me the opportunity. I will try my best to play Princess Jin and well, you will not be disappointed." Wei Xiao's wishful laughter suddenly sounded in the small box. Zhang Lingzi is also very happy. In this way, the male protagonist, Qing Yuan and Xiao Jinan will all be played by people she recognizes. As for the others, they are naturally not as important as these three roles. But she was more reserved than Director Wei and planned to go back to the hotel room to laugh again. Asterisk. Since a consensus has been reached, and Su Ling'an is of age and can represent herself, the contract was naturally signed very smoothly. The moment the fingerprint came down, Wei Xiao immediately sent a concise message to WeChat Moments. The role of Princess Jinan has been decided. So the agents, actors, investors, etc. in the friends column should not send actors over to him. Although everyone in the circle of friends felt unwilling to do so, they were also curious about who this guy had chosen, so they all sent messages to ask. Wei Xiao held his phone that was vibrating non-stop and simply sent a reply directly to the group. "You will know when the promotional photos come out in 2 days." As for the fact that in the end it was discovered that this person was not found in the circle and was even an amateur, wasn't this his usual style? Everyone who received the news had no choice but to suppress their curiosity for the time being. The promotional photos of the female number 4 will be released soon, and they will naturally know who will be the winner. But the news from the studio is much faster. Wei Minmin was the first to rush to her brother-in-law. She looked at him several times and was a little surprised. "You actually kidnapped Sister Anan to film for you. What do you mean by this? How come a quasi-college student is suddenly willing to come and film a movie?" She didn't say the rest, especially after witnessing you yelling at actors like a fire-breathing dragon on set. Although Wei Xiao didn't want to admit it, he still rubbed his nose and told the truth. "I think it's because that girl is also on our crew." Wei Minmin. So, Sister Anan is still an out-and-out sister controller? End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 205. Chapter 205 Princess Jinan should be like this. Out. The door of the changing room was opened from the inside, causing the people standing outside to turn their heads and look over. Xian Jian was dressed in a clear blue palace dress dotted with orchid grass, and the dark green waistband was embroidered with cursive script with silver thread, all showing dignity. Only the vivid kingfisher hairpin on her head reveals some of the girl's lively nature. But what impressed everyone the most was not the various external embellishments, but the girl's eyes that were as clean, pure, and soft as a deer. It seems like it can cleanse the soul. It was the first time that Su Ling'an was looked at so directly by everyone. After barely adapting to her new look, she quietly moved behind Zhang Lingzi little by little. Until half of his body was blocked, the people who were looking at him laughed kindly. "Don't look at me, don't look at me, you're making people feel shy." Wei Minmin also smiled and retracted her gaze, turning to look at Wei Xiao, who had been questioned by her just now. "Brother-in-law." Wei Xiao raised his eyebrows. "How is it?" Wei Minmin looked at his proud look and said in a sincere tone, "I will never question your choice of actors again." She has read the script of Empress Yuan Zhao countless times so far. Basically, she can form a vague image of every character in it in her mind. To sum it up, this is what this character should have looked like historically. So far, she feels that the actor who fits the role best is Zhang Lingzi's Emperor Yuan Zhao. She has seen the Emperor's majestic power and domineering power in the past few days, as well as the arrogance of the princess and the low profile of the princess. Every time she watches Zhang Lingzi filming, to be honest, she feels like she's having a great time. It's a bit stressful when you're on the stage in person and filming scenes opposite each other. Of course, this is her own problem. Next is Shen Yunqing's Prime Minister Shen. The reason why he is ranked second is that this person has not been to the set a few times since the start of filming. However, his efficiency is inferior to those of them who stay on the set every day. The director has not consciously cooperated with him each other's time. There is also Qing Yuan, played by Pei Xinyuan, who was recommended by Zhang Lingzi later. Her calm and dignified image as a palace maid is also impressive. And now, she felt that there would be another Princess Jinan from Su Ling'an. Even though this girl had just put on her makeup and the filming hadn't officially started yet, when she stood there just now, the image of the frail, well-behaved, and talented Princess Jinan in history suddenly became clear. If she could travel through time and space, the little girl who was pampered but not arrogant at all, she would think like this. Asterisk. The official account of the crew of Empress Yuan Zhao introduced their fourth female lead in a rather playful tone. Princess Jinan, the favorite of the Yinhe Palace, has arrived. The promotional photo shows a young girl standing quietly at a table, with a slender silhouette, her sleeves rolled up and a brush drawn. The same side view, the camera is very close, you can almost see the little baby fat on the girl's face that has not completely faded away, her skin is so white and clear that even the pores are not visible. At a glance, you can definitely tell that he is very young, but I don't know if he is an adult. But the promotion this time is the same as the promotion for the male protagonist, and there is no it. What does the person who manages the account do for a living? Why did he forget it again? It's also a side profile photo. I have a bold guess. Is it possible that it's not intentional, but that the actor who plays Princess Jinan, like the actor who plays the male lead, doesn't have this account? It is rumored on the internet that the actress who plays Princess Jinan is not Lin Suifei. Has she been replaced? The internet was disconnected at home upstairs some time ago. Lin Suifei's character changed during a live broadcast on the show, and now it's still a mess. The crew of the Empress must have cut off her immediately. It may be seen by loyal fans of Lin Suifei, but I still want to say that the new actress who plays Princess Jinan feels more suitable for this role than Lin Suifei anyway. It really pokes me. Looking at the age of the actors, they really fit the role quite well. The talented woman among the princesses still died young. Can the screenwriter change the ending for Princess Jinan? Upstairs, historical dramas still have to respect historical facts. Especially if the director is a TV director, your wish is unlikely to come true. This profile face is really cute, give me a frontal photo of my sister, it's awesome. I saw the trailer in Wei Xiao's circle of friends yesterday, and all the managers and artists who clicked in were speechless for a moment. They have no impression of the actors in the promotional photos, which means they are either newbies or amateurs. But this is not surprising when it comes to Wei Xiao. This man is able to pick someone from a group of extras to play his leading male role, and he can also reject the self-recommended top actor who has just won the Best Actor crown. Now he can let an amateur girl take the main role in his TV series. I just don't know where he found this little girl. It was Wei Xiao's TV series when he first debuted. I can't help but say that I am really lucky. As long as Lin Suifei doesn't forcefully establish her character and then destroy it herself, she can foresee a bright future. If others were just surprised, and at the same time a little regretful that they had no chance at all, then Lin Suifei couldn't help but go crazy when she saw this promotional photo. She has just terminated her contract, it has only been 2 days, and not only has her replacement been found, but even the promotional photos have been released. This made her couldn't help but wonder if Wei Xiao had already found a replacement for her and took this opportunity to kick her out of the crew. The more you think about it, the more likely it is. Go and check for me, where did this person come from? The manager on the side wanted to persuade her, but looking at Lin Suifei's ferocious expression, she swallowed her words and nodded in agreement. She wasn't sure if she could find it based on such a photo, so at worst she would just pretend. Although Lin Swafi's popularity is not as good as before, she can still be regarded as having a clear path with Mr. Chen after this incident. If Mr. Chen is willing to spend money to promote her, there is no chance of making a comeback. The next second after closing the door, he heard the crisp sound of a cup falling to the ground in the room behind him. The agent paused and sighed. Looking down at the promotional photos on the screen of her mobile phone, she had to admit that the newly found actor did fit the role better than her own artist. As expected of Wei Xiao. But not everyone failed to recognize who the person in the promotional photo was. After the college entrance examination, a large number of students were liberated. In addition, the weather is very hot now. Many people choose to stay at home, blow on the air conditioner, drink Coke, and check their mobile phones. Lin Chan is one of them. Both her parents go to work. She sleeps at home until noon. When she wakes up, she takes out her newly bought mobile phone and starts playing. She glanced at a familiar face in profile. Although it was in ancient costume, she had been classmates for 3 years, so how could she not know what her classmates looked like? Not to mention, she has always been secretly jealous of this face. Looking at the account that posted the photo, the potato chips he was about to eat fell into the bed. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 206. Chapter 206. Send a mobile phone first. When Lin Chan cleaned up the potato chip crumbs on the sheets and picked up the phone, she saw that the group of Class 3 of Nanjing No. 3 Middle School that was pinned to the top of her circle of friends had exploded. She had a bad feeling, but she gritted her teeth and opened it. As expected, not only did she see Su Lingan's photo, but others in the class also saw it. Even without stopping, she moved it to the group chat, and suddenly there were many people like her who were sitting at home playing with their mobile phones. Su Lingan is so awesome now. I'm even looking for relatives to see if I can work as a part-timer in a small company. My classmates are all going to the theater to act. I'm still preparing to deliver a courier. Su Lingan has helped me open up new ideas. Do you plan to go to the film and television city to work as an extra? If so, call me. Some people specifically liked Lin Chan. After all, the two of them were closest to each other when they were in school. Lin Chan, you know that Su Lingan went to film, right? Did she tell you? The role of Su Lingan should not be an ensemble cast. There is also a separate promotional photo. Is it possible that the top student in our class is preparing to take the Film and Television Academy entrance examination? Su Lingan didn't join the group. Lin Chan must have her phone number. Where is Lin Chan? She usually chats the most happily in the group. Why is she missing today? Lin Chan became more and more angry as she watched, so she simply closed the group chat. But the next second another top profile picture flashed, and Han Ye chatted with her privately. Although the two of them added each other as friends, she basically took the initiative to chat and checked Han Ye's circle of friends from time to time. It seemed like it was the first time that the other party took the initiative to send her a message. Lin Chan could even guess what this person would send her at this time, but she still couldn't help but click on the profile picture. Do you know that Su Lingan went to film a movie? Lin Chan bit her lower lip. I don't know. The classmates in the class were busy reviewing for the mock test some time ago and may not have noticed it, but she clearly felt it. Su Lingan had become somewhat alienated from her since returning from the arcade that day. Su Lingan might have shared such a famous and lucrative job with her in the past, but now, she and Su Lingan haven't eaten and chatted together for a while. Seeing that Han Ye didn't reply for a long time, Lin Chan thought of a possibility and typed with a sore heart, it's probably because of the college entrance examination interview video that went viral some time ago. Good luck allowed the director to see her. Hanye's message came back, it's possible. Just in time, the time for our graduation dinner has been decided. Su Ling'an is not in the group. If you have her phone number, please inform her. The address will be in the group. Lin Chan could only bite the bullet and respond, okay, I understand. Asterisk. The crew. Wei Xiao turned around and glanced at Su Ling'an's position during the filming break, and saw that the little girl was holding the script and reading it seriously, and he had already begun to think about putting Princess Jinnen's role on the schedule as soon as possible. After all, this girl can only use the summer vacation, and he can't delay others' registration at the university. During the break, he walked over and asked, Enan, how do you like the script? As soon as these words came out, the actors who were resting next to them were startled. When have they ever heard Director Wei speak in such a gentle tone? Looking at Su Ling'an, who was immersed in reading the script, they understood that with such a well-behaved little girl in front of them, they did not dare to speak loudly for fear of scaring the child. I can only say that being young has its advantages. However, Su Ling'an thought that the director was here to test her work results. The contract clearly stated that her remuneration was calculated based on the number of days, and she would earn 1 day for each day she worked on the crew. Even if she did not have to film yet, she would still be paid. She just wanted to finish reading the script as soon as possible and memorize her lines, otherwise she would feel guilty about getting this day's salary. For this reason, she did not send her grandmother home in person today, but asked her sister's assistant, Sister Zheng Zheng, to bring her luggage from home. I've memorized almost half of the lines. I only read the script once, and now I'm reading it carefully. Su Ling'an didn't notice that Director Wei's expression suddenly stiffened in front of him, and replied seriously, Director Wei, please give me 1 more day. Time, I promise to finish it all. Wei Xiao, well, there is no need to be in such a hurry. Su Ling'an smiled, showing her 4 small white teeth, it's okay, I can carry things faster. She turned the script to the 2nd page, I read this script, did my sister also participate in the editing? Wei Xiao first digested the fact that this girl was carrying things very fast, and nodded after hearing this, to be precise, your sister gave me a lot of suggestions, which led to a major change in the script, so I simply added her name. Su Ling'an nodded suddenly, sister is really amazing. Wei Xiao. He is also very powerful. Well, as my eldest niece said, this girl seems to be a real sister. He was preparing to return to his position as director with some vicissitudes in his heart. Halfway through turning around, he remembered the purpose of coming here. By the way, Enan, where's your phone? I'll drag you into our main creative cast. Sometimes I'll discuss the roles and stuff in the group. Hearing this, Su Ling'an felt a little embarrassed, sorry, Director Wei, I don't have a mobile phone. Originally, my grandma wanted to leave her cell phone with her before she left, so that when she wanted to call home, she could call brother Xiaoli. But after she successfully completed the college entrance examination, brother Xiaoli went to work for the restaurant owner who admired her, and got off work very late. She could borrow her sister's cell phone on the set to occasionally call her grandma, but since her grandma didn't have a cell phone, she had to wait for brother Xiaoli to come back from get off work. The fact that Su Ling'an didn't have a mobile phone was beyond Wei Xiao's expectation. These days, primary school students can play with smartphones better than adults. He really didn't expect that an adult girl would not have a mobile phone in her hand. You wait a moment. He sent a message to his assistant. After a while, the assistant brought a mobile phone over and said, Director Wei, here, the phone card has been inserted and can be used at any time. Wei Xiao took it and handed it to Su Ling'an. You will use this phone during filming. Although he has a lot of unused cell phones, he didn't say anything like giving them to you directly at this moment. As expected, he would never give the cell phone away. Su Linghan also knew that this mobile phone should be a benefit for the entire crew. After all, everyone around her had a mobile phone of their own, so there was definitely no need for the crew to distribute it separately. She stared at the almost brand new mobile phone in front of her for a few seconds, and finally reached out and took it. "Thank you, Director Wei, I will keep it well. Here, scan this code." Su Linghan clicked a few times on the phone screen unfamiliarly. "Well, I don't have an account yet, so I have to register one first." "Director Wei, please wait a moment." Wei Xiao. End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 207. Chapter 207 Graduation Dinner. It wasn't until Hanya came to ask again that Lin Chen reluctantly made the call. Gao Lan glanced at the call notification and answered the call. "Hello, are you An's classmate?" "I'm her grandmother." Lin Chen curled her lips. Among the entire class, no, the entire school, Su Linghan was probably the only one who didn't even have a mobile phone. Grandparents and grandson still share an old-fashioned mobile phone. But when I think about Su Linghan now working on a film crew, it is still a big film crew like Empress Yuan Zhao. The salary earned in one summer vacation can probably buy 10 of the latest mobile phones. Can't think about it, I can't help but scratch my heart and lungs when I think about it. Why didn't such a good opportunity fall on her head? Thinking about it, she still shouted sweetly, "Grandma Anan, I am An's good friend Lin Chen. Anan is not at home right now, do you have anything to do with her?" Of course I know that Su Linghan is not at home, and it is best to be scolded by the director on the set. She is not a serious actor, and she will definitely hinder everyone when she acts. Who would I scold if she doesn't scold her? I feel comfortable thinking about this. Grandma Anan, it's like this: our class is going to have a dinner tomorrow. If Anan is not in the class group, let me inform you. We're having dinner together. Are they all from your class? Yeah, isn't this because we are all separated when we get to college? Just having a meal together can be considered a successful conclusion to our 3 years of high school. Don't worry, our class teacher will also be there. Okay, wait until I ask Anan, and ask her to get back to you then. Okay, see you Grandma Anan. Asterisk. Zhang Lingzi received the call from Gao Lan during lunch. "Zioxi, it didn't disturb your work, did it?" "No, I'm eating, Anan is next to me." Zhang Lingzi said, handing the phone to Su Linghan, who was looking over. "Here, your grandma." Su Linghan quickly put down his chopsticks and took the phone. "Grandma, have you eaten?" "After eating, I ate tomato and egg noodles with 2 eggs. Anan, a classmate of yours named Lin Chen called me this morning and said that he was holding a graduation party. I called you to tell you this." Graduation dinner. Su Linghan frowned slightly and said to himself that it was an unfortunate coincidence. Although I have never worked before, my immediate boss will definitely be unhappy if I ask for leave as soon as I start working. However, there is no need to tell Grandma about these concerns. She responded, "Okay, I understand Grandma. I will contact Lin Chen after dinner." "Okay, hurry up and eat, and I'll hang up first." "Wait a minute, the director gave me a mobile phone for work use. I will send the phone number to you later. You can just call this number later." "That's good, your director is very generous, so you don't have to trouble Xiao 11 every time in the future. Well, you remember your lunch break." Sitting opposite Su Linghan was Wei Minmin, who came over to eat. He raised his eyebrows when he heard this. How come she didn't know that the crew would give mobile phones to the actors? That must be the selfishness of the uncle. Watching Su Linghan return the phone to Zhang Lingzi, she couldn't help but said, "Anan, haven't you organized the graduation dinner yet?" I think back when she just finished her college entrance examination, she held a party without stopping and almost played all night. She got home and slept all day before she finally recovered. Now that I think about it, I really miss it. Maybe it was too hot 2 days ago. That's true. Today is a little better. The weather forecast says that the temperature will drop again tomorrow. Su Ling'an hesitated for a moment and asked in a low voice, but if I ask for leave as soon as I get here, will the satellite director be unhappy? Ah. Wei Minmin was stunned for a moment when asked, and then she couldn't help laughing. Haha, Sister Anan is so cute. This is not the kind of job that requires you to work from 9 to 5. Besides, I haven't been here for the past 2 days. I've arranged for you to make an announcement, so you can go directly when the time comes. Don't you need to ask for leave? Zhang Lingzi put a piece of the spare ribs that Wei Minmin had almost snatched away into Su Ling'an's bowl. No, if you feel uneasy, you can just go and say it. Su Ling'an nodded, picked up the ribs and took a bite. It's delicious. Zhang Lingzi asked Lu Zhengzheng to buy another folding chair that could be used to rest, sit, or lie down on the set anytime and anywhere. After dinner, the three of them lay down side by side on the folding chair to rest. Su Ling'an picked up her cell phone and went outside to make a call, but was stopped by Zhang Lingzi, who was still asleep. It's hot outside, just call here. There are not many places where the crew can use the air conditioner. The leading actors and their assistants only take turns in one room. Shimin returned to the nanny's car, so naturally she didn't have to worry about anyone. Su Ling'an sat on a folding chair and entered Lin Chan's number. Although she is now estranged from Lin Chan, she still had a good relationship before, and she has always remembered Lin Chan's number. The phone rang a few times and was answered. Hey, who is it? It's me, Su Ling'an. Lin Chan, who had just eaten a bucket of instant noodles for lunch and went back to bed, sat up straight and said, Anan, I want to tell you about the graduation dinner. You. Have the time and place been decided? Lin Chan wanted to inquire about the crew's gossip, but her words were blocked in her throat. It's all decided. I remember you don't have a mobile phone. I'll tell you the address. Remember it? You send a text message to this number if you want to contact me later. Call this number too. You don't have to call my grandma's cell phone. You bought a new mobile phone so soon, Lin Chan blurted out, then I will drag you into our class group. There is a meeting place in the group. Su Ling'an didn't bother to explain to her that the phone was not hers, and she refused decisively when she heard what came next. No need to bother, I'll hang up first. She hasn't been in a group for 3 years in high school, and now that she has graduated, she doesn't know if they will still be in contact with each other after the dinner party. She feels that there is really no need to join a group again. Wait a minute, I saw you online, Dudu. Hearing the busy tone from the phone, Lin Chan's face turned a little blue. She originally wanted to ask if there was anyone else on the crew she was staying with, but she hung up the phone before she could say it. Do you really think that just by acting in a TV series, you can completely change your poverty? Asterisk. In the evening, the crew called it a day. Wei Xiao looked at Su Ling'an, who came over specifically to ask for leave one day in advance, and felt the relief he had not seen for a long time. There's a graduation party. You have to go and say goodbye to the classmates who have been together for 3 years. He nodded happily and approved the leave. He also thought that this girl had a rest all day today except for lunch. Every time he looked at her past, she is always reading the script with her head in hand. You don't have to push yourself too hard. I just read the script in the past 2 days while adapting to the filming process of the crew. I plan to reschedule the role of Princess Jinan in 2 days. You can definitely finish it before school starts. The main reason is that the leading actors are really good. Although their crew started shooting later than the next door Legend of the Fallen, the progress is indeed very fast, and it is even expected to surpass it, so naturally I feel less urgent. But to Su Ling'an's ears, she felt that Director Wei was trying to comfort her and accommodate her as much time as possible. She immediately nodded and silently made a decision in her heart. Before leaving the crew to attend the graduation dinner tomorrow afternoon, She must give Jin Princess and memorized all her lines, reciting them backwards and forwards, and she definitely didn't hold back the crew. Wei Xiao, who still didn't know that his words had the opposite effect, watched Su Ling'an leave with a smile. Graduation dinner, it's great to be young. End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 208. Chapter 208 Sudden Enthusiasm. I'll ask Zheng Zheng to send you there. Su Ling'an waved her hands hurriedly. No, sister, I'll just take a taxi there. Just then, Lu Zhengzheng came over, holding Zhang Lingzi's mobile phone in her hand. Sister Zixi, this is a call from Mr. Shen. Su Ling'an saw this and signaled to answer the phone first. Sister, if you are busy in advance, I will take a taxi first. Zhang Lingzi guessed that Shen Yunqing's investigation of Mei Shuiqing had made progress, so she could only wave her hand and said, be careful on the road. Know it? Zhang Lingzi picked up the phone and answered, hello. Have you finished your work? The research on the functions of the patterns in Mei Shuiqing's villa has made progress. Huzi is at the gate of the film and television city. We will chat while eating later. Okay, I'll go there right away. Although he didn't see anyone, the voice coming out of the microphone was as calm as ever, but Zhang Lingzi could still hear the solemnity in Shen Yunqing's words from these few words. Has it reached the point where it can only be explained clearly in person? Her heart sank, and she turned to look at Lu Zhengzheng, who was following him with her bag. Zhengzheng, you go back first. I'll go out to do some errands. I may come back tonight or tomorrow morning. You can rest on time. You don't have to wait. Lu Zhengzheng subconsciously took a step forward. Sister Zixi, where are you going? I'm going to have a meal with Shen Yunqing. He has already sent a car to pick me up. Lu Zhengzheng quickly swallowed back what she wanted to say. The couple had dinner together, but she had better not go over and be a light bulb. Does this count as a small vacation for me? Zhang Lingzi, forget it, go wherever you want. Lu Zhengzheng stretched out her hand and said, yeah, Sister Zixi and Mr. Shen had a nice dinner. Zhang Lingzi. This meal couldn't be more enjoyable. As soon as she walked to the gate of the film and television city, Zhang Lingzi saw Zhao Ziahu standing next to a low-key black business car. The other party also saw her quickly. When she walked to the car, the door was already open. Madam, please. Trouble. You're welcome. Going around to the driver's seat, Zhao Ziahu looked in the rear-view mirror and saw that Zhang Lingzi had fastened his seat belt and started the car. Zhang Lingzi originally thought she was going to Shen Yunqing's Ziwan for dinner. After all, no matter where she discussed this matter, it was not hidden and safe at home. However, after driving for a while, she realized that this was not the way to Ziwan. Huzi, where does your husband want to eat? At the home of a friend of your husband's. Zhang Lingzi. Could you help investigate Mei Shuiqing's friends? Half an hour later, the commercial vehicle stopped at the entrance of a simple and low-key courtyard. When Zhao Ziahu stepped forward to knock on the door first, Zhang Lingzi stood behind and looked at the small courtyard in front of her. The first impression is full of Zen atmosphere. With the relatively bright sky, she even saw the characters carved very concealed on both sides of the door. The owner of this courtyard must still be a monk, right? However, being able to become friends with a monk is indeed something that person can do. In the courtyard. Hearing the knock on the door, Shen Yunqing stood up immediately and went to open the door. Behind him, Wuja took a deep breath, picked up the baseball cap at hand, slapped it on his bare head, and followed him. Even though I knew that even without the hat, His Majesty would not be able to recognize him outside the door, I still felt a little guilty. The courtyard door opened, and Shen Yunqing looked directly past Zhao Ziahu's tall body at the door and towards the figure standing in the sunset. Here he comes. Zhang Lingzi also looked past him and instead looked at the person behind him wearing a navy blue sweatshirt. Is this, friend? Liuja suddenly met Zhang Lingzi's eyes, and almost reflexively clasped his hands and said but first, Miss Zhang, I have long admired you. I am Yunqing's friend, Ji Liuju. Zhang Lingzi paused for a moment on his hat, nodded slightly and responded, hello. Please come in quickly. Entering the courtyard, Zhang Lingzi looked around without leaving any trace. It was a simple and unsophisticated courtyard, which perfectly complemented the owner Ji Liuju. Today's preparations are all vegetarian food. Shen Yunqing led the way into the side hall where food was already laid out. I wonder if you are used to it. Zhang Lingzi nodded obediently. It happens to be hot and I have no appetite, so I might as well eat something vegetarian. When she sat down in the main seat as usual, Shen Yunqing and Liuja consciously sat on the left and right sides. Okay, let's go. Liuja was stunned for a moment. He glanced at his friend opposite him who had naturally picked up the chopsticks, and then he laughed and picked up the chopsticks. Your Majesty, who does as the Romans do, is quite cute. Asterisk. The other side. As soon as Su Lingyan got out of the taxi, she saw Lin Chan waiting at the roadside waving to her. You're finally here. Lin Chan took a few steps forward and turned the phone screen in her hand. Look, everyone is rushing me. Normally, Su Lingyan would have been just a quiet academic from a poor family, so he would not have attracted such much attention. But now, almost all the classmates in the class knew that Su Lingyan was filming on the set, and they all wanted to know how she managed to get a role on the set just 2 days after the college entrance examination. Su Lingyan glanced at the messages in the group and was a little surprised why his classmates suddenly became so enthusiastic. He didn't think about the promotional photos online. After all, she just bought a mobile phone yesterday and didn't even have an account. Then hurry up and go. Let's go, Lin Chan said and was about to hold Su Lingyan's hand, but the other party dodged him without leaving a trace. She paused and pretended not to notice. Hey, it's right on the opposite side. A few minutes later, the two stopped in front of a seemingly hidden gate. This is a hotel. Why does it look so different? Lin Chan snorted softly in her heart. So what if she could go and act in a TV series? She still has no experience at all. This is much more upscale than a restaurant where you can only eat. It has everything to eat, drink, play and have fun, and only members can enter. Hanya borrowed his uncle's membership card so we can get in. We can cover tonight's dinner and entertainment activities there, and it's no problem even if we stay overnight. As Lin Chan said this, she sent a message to the group that someone had arrived at the gate. After a while, the gate was opened from the inside. Hanya, wearing a white suit, stood inside the door, his eyes falling on the man wearing a white suit. Su Lingyan, who was wearing a white polo shirt and a blue skirt, was motionless. Su Lingyan saw that he was dressed formally, and then looked at himself, who was wearing simple clothes that he could only say was clean. Then he looked at Lin Chan, who was also wearing a lavender floral dress. Then he realized, is this dressed too casually? No, it's very beautiful. Come in. Hanya stretched out his hand and made a gesture of invitation, with a particularly gentle smile. Lin Chan looked at Su Lingyan who was invited in by Hanya himself, bit her cheek and lifted her heels. The building does not show any mountains or water outside the door, but when you enter, you will know that there is something going on inside. Going through paths filled with the fragrance of flowers and plants, you can reach your destination. A courtyard decorated with bright lights. Almost as soon as Su Lingyan appeared, the noisy courtyard fell silent. I don't know who shouted, Su Lingyan is here. The next second, a group of people cheered and gathered in front of me. Our big star Anan is here. Hurry, hurry, give me an autograph first, I have to treasure it. Anan, my idol, Queen Shi, is also on the set of The Empress. Have you met and talked to her? By the way, the Princess Jinan you play is the Queen's daughter, so shouldn't she be called Shi Ying's stepmother in the play? Su Ling'an was confused by the question. She finally knew why everyone was so enthusiastic about her suddenly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 209. Chapter 209 I want to learn computers. Seeing Su Ling'an being asked such a barrage of questions and not knowing which one to answer first, Han Ye quickly pushed aside the people in front of him, stood next to Su Ling'an, held his posture and shouted loudly. Interruption, Anan just arrived, please calm down and let her sit down and take a drink of water first. The enthusiasm of everyone subsided for the time being, and they watched Han Ye Su Ling'an to a table and chairs placed not far away to rest. There were also a few sensitive people who noticed that Han Ye was calling him more affectionately than before, so they couldn't help but make a little noise. Han Ye did not stop him this time. Instead, he turned his head to look at Su Ling'an, who had not yet reacted to everyone's enthusiasm. Seeing that she did not refuse his defense, the corners of his mouth suddenly rose a little. Lin Chan, who was following the two of them, naturally noticed this intimacy that was not used for other girls. She was even the first to notice it, but she had no intention of following Han Ye's action. There was a hole in the arm behind Su Ling'an's back. When he arrived at the table, Han Ye immediately pulled out a chair and said, "Sit down, what would you like to drink?" Su Ling'an subconsciously raised his head and met Han Ye's eyes. He looked very gentle, but she didn't feel any benefit. Instead, she felt panicked at first, and then felt a little weird. She had never received so much attention when she was in school. At most, she would receive some envious looks when her final exam results came out. Not to mention that Han Ye is considered a popular figure in his class. He is handsome and has a good family background. I heard that he can pull out a stack of love letters from his desk every day. Such a person suddenly spoke softly and considerately to him. Su Ling'an felt that the chair under him was starting to get hot. But he couldn't get up immediately after he had already sat down. He could only wave his hands repeatedly and said, "I'm not thirsty yet. If you want a drink, I can just get it myself." Having accomplished this, Han Ye didn't see a trace of infatuation for him from Su Ling'an. Han Ye's eyes sank. Before he could speak again, the phone in his pocket rang first. He took it out and saw that it was a call from the head teacher, so he had to go and answer it first. Su Ling'an took the call and turned to leave, then quietly breathed a sigh of relief. She just hopes to use this graduation dinner to say goodbye to her classmates who have been together for 3 years and fill her stomach. She doesn't want to imagine that she just became the most dazzling one in the crowd for no reason. It's just that things often backfire. As soon as Han Ye leaves, the people he suppressed just now come together again. Fortunately, this time it's not like the swarm of bees that made people's ears ring. The party just started, so there was plenty of time to chat. The first person to come up to him was Li Fei. He and Han Ye usually played well, and they could guess a little bit about their friends' thoughts. Obviously the bet was just a joke before, but he still remembered what Han Ye said about the class beauty. Only by winning the heart of the top student in our class would he feel a sense of accomplishment. But just now I saw what my friend was doing. Isn't he really planning on it? But now he looked closer at Su Ling'an. Under the bright light, he couldn't help but his heart beat a few times. In the past, I only knew that their primary school bully always immersed himself in studying all day long. Even if the class held group activities such as outings, he rarely participated in them. The impression left on him was that he was a thin and frail little nerd. Looking at it now, he didn't know if it was because he had seen the ancient costume promotional photo so many times before, but he realized that the little nerd in front of him actually had a very classical and soft face, with eyebrows like a crescent moon and a small nose and mouth. A pair of eyes is even more beautiful and clear. Even the slight confusion and nervousness shown on his face can't help but make people feel protective. I even wanted to see these beautiful eyes turn red and shed tears. Li Fei was startled by his sudden perverted thoughts. When he heard the voice of his friend behind him, he suddenly came back to his senses. Old Ban said he would have to wait a while before he could come over. He asked us to stop waiting and eat first when we are all here. Someone immediately agreed, then let's grill the meat first. It will be almost cooked when Lao Ban comes over. Don't tell me, I'm already starting to sing about the empty city strategy. Others didn't have any objections, and the group was suddenly full of energy. The boys and girls rushed to the barbecue grill in the corner of the yard to get busy. Their graduation dinner was this barbecue. The barbecue grills and all kinds of meat skewers and vegetables were all ready to be delivered. Not only could they fully enjoy the addiction of doing it themselves, but it was also much more comfortable than a large group of people eating around a big table. Coupled with all kinds of drinks, as well as a small stage set up in the yard, it was almost a gathering of people eating, drinking and having fun. Naturally, everyone was very impressed with all this and seeing Hanya who could still have such fun during a dinner party. Although there are still people approaching Su Ling'an this time, since Hanya came out to defend him, there has been no such thing as blocking people there just to ask a pleasant question. The entire beverage table was filled with colorful drinks. Su Ling'an only took a bottle of lemon-flavored soda water, unscrewed the cap and took a sip. Facing the curious questions from her classmates about her running away to film, she didn't want to answer, but when she saw the eyes in front of her that were mostly just curious, she couldn't refuse to answer them indifferently. I can only pick and choose some answers. For example, how did you find a way to work on a film set? She only replied, good luck, coincidence. Of course, that's what she thought too. Originally, it was just because she hadn't seen her sister for a long time and her sister was busy. She happened to have some free time after the college entrance examination, so she took the initiative to visit her. As a result, the director spotted him and got the opportunity to make money by filming. It was just that good luck happened to him, and it was thanks to his sister. She knew very well that if it hadn't been for her sister, this kind of good luck would never have happened to her. I was asked again, are the celebrities on the set easy to get along with in private? In response to this question, Su Ling'an nodded without thinking, they are all very easy to get along with and they all take good care of me. Sister, of course, it goes without saying that she knows very well that there is no blood relationship between them, but in daily interactions, she always feels that her sister is her biological sister. There is also the new sister Wei who has a cheerful temperament and it is natural to get close to her. Even the actress Shaman She was in the same dressing room. Although she didn't say a word in the past 2 days, she was a gentle person after getting along with her. As for the others, forgive her for spending the past 2 days reading scripts and memorizing lines, so she is really not very familiar with them. Someone also asked, are you planning to apply for a film and television school and pursue acting and becoming a star? Su Ling'an shook his head without hesitation. From her point of view, being able to join a film crew during the last summer vacation of high school was good luck and a new experience. But her dream has never changed from beginning to end. Until she was asked what major she was going to apply for, since she didn't plan to study acting and become an actor, under the night lights and in the crowd, the girl held the soda bottle in her hand, and her face showed obvious seriousness. I want to learn computers. I only hope that one day, with the help of increasingly sound and developed networks, I can find traces of my lost mother. This is her greatest ambition. End of this chapter. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 210. Chapter 210 I got it wrong. The scene fell silent. This answer of wanting to learn computers was beyond the expectations of everyone present. Even Han Ye, who was just standing quietly behind and watching Su Ling'an respond to other people's questions, couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. It wasn't until Li Fei, who walked over quietly, touched his shoulder that he came back to his senses. I remember that you also plan to major in computer science. Is this a coincidence? Han Ye didn't know what he was thinking of. Instead of nodding, he frowned. I think this filming is a good opportunity and should be cherished. Of course, he didn't say the deeper meaning. Having a girlfriend who is a celebrity is much more respectable than a girlfriend who only knows how to type on the computer. Even if the computer major is a promising major, there are even fewer people who can become star actors during college. In his opinion, Su Ling'an really didn't know that he had grasped the opportunity. Li Fei raised his eyebrows, ignoring the slight discomfort in his heart, and said in a low voice, I say Han Ye, you don't really plan to confess to the little nerd at the graduation party. I haven't promised you yet, you just arranged it for someone. You also said that this girl is just a little nerd. We will have dinner and drink some wine later, and everyone will help to brighten the atmosphere. How could she not agree? Li Fei looked at his confident acquiescence and gave him a thumbs up. You are quite confident, so I wish you success immediately. Han Ye took 2 glasses of beer from the table next to him and handed them over. He handed over one glass and touched it again. I'll lend you some good words. They have graduated and are adults. Even if they drink in front of their class teacher, they don't feel guilty. The group of people finally satisfied their curiosity with Su Ling'an. After being classmates for 3 years, they all knew that Su Ling'an was not a talkative person. It was probably the limit for him to be able to chat with them for so long, so dispersed in 2s and 3s. Those who had said in the class group that they wanted Su Ling'an to introduce the work of the crew could speak freely in the group, but when facing Su Ling'an in reality, they had no nerve to ask. At the end of the day, they themselves also know that, even if they are envious, good luck like Su Ling'an's is really very slim. It's better to take advantage of this graduation dinner opportunity. It's rare to come to such a high-end place and have fun. This is the most realistic thing. The aroma of barbecue began to fill the yard. There were more than 40 people in a class, and those who liked working stayed in front of the grill. They felt a sense of accomplishment every time a plate was baked. Some also imitated adults and tasted various types of red wine, beer, and fruit wine that were not allowed to be touched in the past. Those who liked to have fun even became bartenders. As for some young girls in costumes, they occupied the small stage in the courtyard and held the microphone. There are also those who secretly fell in love behind the back of the class teacher while they were in school. Now they dare to show it openly. They have to hold hands whether they are standing or sitting. You have to feed me a skewer of barbecue. When you take a sip, the sour smell of love is wafting around you. Maybe it was because the sky was getting darker, or maybe everyone had been drunk and affected by alcohol. When their class teacher hurried to the scene, what they saw was a lively group of people who were watching the 4 courtyard walls close. The restless monkey. Li Fei was the one who gave the class teacher the most headaches when he was in the class. He even walked over with a glass of beer at this moment and said, "My classmate is late, do I have to take one as a punishment?" The head teacher, who prided himself on being dignified at ordinary times, listened to the cheers of the students, and the veins on his forehead jumped. He picked up the cup and drank it all in one gulp. Now, everyone is even more crazy. With Li Fei taking the lead, one after another mustered up the courage to come forward and propose a toast. Those who really didn't dare to drink also brought a drink. The atmosphere was so lively that even Su Ling'an, who always liked quietness, was affected. Seeing that she was the only one who hadn't stepped forward to toast, she simply poured 2 glasses of her favorite soda water and walked over. As for wine, she would never dare to drink it. Teacher Tang. Laoban. The 2 voices sounded almost at the same time. Su Ling'an was startled, and turned around to see Han Ye following him unknowingly. He also had a cup in his hand, and he seemed to be preparing to toast the class teacher. Then she saw this man smile at her and said, "Old man, we're here to toast you too." "I'll do it, you can do whatever you want." The head teacher looked at Hanya and then at the seedling he was most optimistic about in front of him. He raised his eyebrows and said nothing. He took the soda water handed over by Sulingen and took a big sip. By the time this dinner party is over, he will be able to retire as a class teacher. The emotional problems between students are not something he needs to worry about anymore. Sulingen silently drank the soda water from his cup and frowned slightly as he lowered his head. To say that at first, she felt awkward and weird when faced with Hanye's deliberately affectionate addresses and actions, but now that he deliberately came with her to toast with the class teacher, she was really disgusted. She has not forgotten why she alienated Lin Chan in the first place. She just wants to hide as far away as possible from someone like Hanya who can treat her love as a child's play and a bet. She originally thought that the other party had stopped teasing her, but now it seems that the other party is far worse than she expected. In the same courtyard, many people around also saw this scene. After looking at each other, they all understood. Seeing that Hanya had put so much effort into this dinner party and was such a talented woman, they were naturally happy to help. So in the following fun, Sulingen and Hanya always happened to be in the same position. Someone on the small stage ordered a love song duet between men and women. Someone called Hanya to come on stage, and then someone called Sulingen to come on stage to sing duet. Everyone made the atmosphere heated, but for Sulingen, it just felt like being forced into a fight. Looking at the microphone that had been handed to her, she resisted the urge to turn around and run away. "I really can't sing." Everyone would not let her go just like that. "There is the original singer, just hum a few lines." Sulingen pursed her lips and looked around. Suddenly she noticed Lin Chan, who was looking blankly at the microphone. After taking it, he stuffed it into her hand and said, "Lin Chan, go ahead." Lin Chan was gritting her teeth secretly. A group of students who suddenly felt that they might have misunderstood. Hanya, who was already standing on the stage waiting for Sulingen to come up, watched her put the microphone into Lin Chan's hand without hesitation, and the confident smile on her lips changed slightly. Until Lin Chan couldn't wait to hold up her skirt and go on stage, everyone around looked at me and I looked at you and quietly dispersed. In the end, a girl with the same quiet personality who was sitting behind Sulingen quietly came over and asked her, "Anan, don't you like Han yet?" Having a rare opportunity to respond to this question, Sulingen nodded without hesitation, "I don't like it." Everyone who happened to hear this with their ears pricked up said. This was embarrassing. They thought these two people liked each other. We are not fools. Looking back carefully, we can see that what they thought before was all an illusion deliberately created by Han Yet. Li Fei also heard it. Looking at the gloomy singing buddy on the stage, he couldn't help but burst into laughter. Even he thought Hanya was sure of it, but he didn't expect that he couldn't handle the little nerd at all. He just wanted to see if Hanya would confess his love to the little nerd in public as planned later. End of this chapter.